Welcome to the Special Olympics Kansas Unified Champion Schools Virtual Youth Summit. By being a part of a Unified Champion School, you are already a part of a community that values inclusion and believes all students, regardless of their race, gender, or ability, deserve the same opportunities to be their best selves. However, this doesn't happen naturally and it takes work. This Youth Summit aims to give you some tips and tools to create a school environment where everyone feels included. The theme of the Youth Summit is advocacy. Advocacy means standing up for yourself, for others, and for causes that you believe in. How can we make schools where everyone feels like they belong? It will take effort on behalf of everyone in the school: teachers, administrators, coaches, bus drivers, parents, and most importantly, students. We believe your generation will be the most inclusive yet, and we want to give you some tips from people who are leading the way in the inclusion revolution in Kansas. My name is Caitlin, and I'm the school's program manager for Special Olympics Kansas and a former educator. As someone who has worked with middle school and high school students for over a decade, I'm passionate about creating more inclusive schools. I will be joined by youth and adult leaders, both with and without intellectual disabilities, as they share what it means to be an advocate and how they stand up for their communities. So get out your notepads or whatever you take notes with and be ready to be inspired.
Hi, I'm Alexis Dominic, and I'm a senior at Blue Valley Southwest.
I'm Patrick Ravenesi, a freshman at Blue Valley Southwest.
In this video, we're going to be discussing advocacy. So, what exactly is advocacy?
Advocacy is defined as an action that speaks in favor or against a topic you are passionate about or you want to change.
Within advocacy, there are several different types. We'll be defining self-advocacy. So, what exactly is self-advocacy?
Self-advocacy is the act of speaking up for yourself or your interests.
So, what are some examples of each?
An example of advocacy is posting a social media post about a topic that you want to change or that you want to bring attention to.
An example of self-advocacy might be asking a teacher for extra help if you're having difficulty in their class. We hope that you take some time to reflect on the way that you've seen advocacy in your life and the ways that you can apply its principles.
Thank you so much for watching.
Hi everyone, today we're going to talk a little bit about advocates in history, but before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about us. My name is Kennedy Tilly. I'm a senior at DeSoto High School. My favorite activity is soccer, and my favorite subject is history.
My name is Maddie. I love swim. I'm in 9th grade.
And Roberts, Macon, West Valley, with Equifax.
Ed Roberts was born in San Mateo, California on January 23, 1939. Ed contracted polio at age 14 and was paralyzed from the neck down. Early on, Roberts encountered obstacles as a result of his disability. His high school refused to let him graduate because he was unable to participate in driver's education and physical education. The decision was overturned and he graduated. Ed soon was accepted into the University of California, Berkeley, where in a later turn of events, he was refused admission due to his need for an iron lung in his dorm room. In 1972, Roberts and other members of the physically disabled student program came together in Berkeley to found the Center for Independent Living, an advocacy group that fought for changes that would give people with disabilities access to a community life. Next, we're going to talk about Judy Heumann. Judy Heumann was an internationally recognized advocate for the rights of disabled people. She was widely regarded as the mother of the disability rights movement. At 18 months old, Judy contracted polio in Brooklyn, New York, and began to use a wheelchair for mobility. She was denied the right to attend school at the age of 5 because she was considered a fire hazard. Later in life, Judy was denied her teaching license by the same school district. After passing her oral and written exams, she was failed on her medical exam because she could not walk. Judy sued the New York Board of Education, and Judge Constance Baker Motley strongly suggested the board reconsider. They did, and Judy went on to become the first wheelchair user to teach in the state of New York. In 1977, Judy was a leader in the historic 504 sit-in in San Francisco. This 26-day protest led to a Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act being signed into law. Judy was instrumental in the development and implementation of other legislation, including the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. These pieces of legislation have been integral in the advancing the inclusion of disabled people in the U.S. and around the world.
Jody Hillman. She is now a well-known leader in the mostly white community. President White Fair Housing Act.
Lastly, I would like to talk about Patricia Wright. Patricia Wright served as Director of Government Affairs for the Disability Rights Education and Defense Fund in Washington, D.C. from 1979 to 2005. She presently directs special projects. Widely acknowledged as the general who coordinated the campaign to enact the landmark Americans with Disability Acts of 1990. Wright also worked to establish acceptance of disability as a legitimate civil rights cause within the broad civil rights community. Wright worked to secure enactment of the Handicapped Children's Protection Act of 1986 and amendments to the Fair Housing Act, which for the first time banned discrimination against people with disabilities by landlords and established the accessibility and adaptability principles for multifamily dwellings.
My name is Tammy Messias and I am with the Kansas City Kings.
How did you first join a team?
I first joined the Special Olympics team was Leavenworth is when my first Special Olympics team, and that was when I was in high school.
And what was it like when you went to your first practice or competition?
My first practice, it was kind of scary, and because I wasn't used to being out there with other people, because when I was in school I was kind of a loner. And my first competition I was nervous that I would mess up, but then when you get out there and you get out there with your buddies and your friends, you realize that it doesn't matter if you mess up or not.
That's awesome. All right. So we have a few questions that came from some high school students who are doing unified sports, and they asked, what advice would you give to high school students who want to get involved in volunteering with Special Olympics, being a partner with Special Olympics, and being part of unified sports?
What I would tell them about getting involved with Special Olympics is it's a great experience, and we need more positive people to join Special Olympics to help out volunteering, so that the athletes get more positive reactions instead of negative.
Great. How do you start a conversation with someone who has a disability?
How do I start a conversation with
How would a
someone?
high schooler start that conversation? If there's students at their school different than them, how do you think they should approach that?
Well, first off, you just say hello and you tell them your name, and depending on their disability, you speak to them like you would speak to anybody else and make them feel as normal as possible.
My name is Richard Darrell Conley. I'm with the Wichita Independence and the Wichita Mustangs and Jayhawks basketball team. I'm from Wichita, Kansas.
So any advice for someone who's thinking about joining Special Olympics but is nervous, what would you tell them?
Encourage people to get involved with the program, and you practice and come on with practice so you can get along with the other athletes, and encourage them to get involved in the Special Olympics program, and you'll learn about other sporting activities and do a lot of things for them.
For high school students, how do they start a conversation with a student at their school with a disability?
Encourage the players to talk to them, with persons with disabilities, encourage them to be volunteer, be be coaches, and also be with the sport, and help and teach them to talk to them and help to interact with those with intellectual disabilities.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Henderson, but everybody calls me Becca. I'm on Speak Shawnee / Speak Stars
And how long have you been involved in Special Olympics?
for 18 years.
Do you remember, how did you first get involved? How did you learn about it and decide to give it a try?
When I was a freshman in high school and fell in love with it. I mean, I was first shy, but it took me a while, but had a lot of fun making new friends. And
So for any of our young athletes out there who are thinking about giving Special Olympics a try, how would you encourage them?
I would definitely come up to them, tell them that you do awesome, just believe in yourself, girl power all the way.
So if there are high schoolers out there watching and they want to know how to become friends with someone in Special Olympics, what would you suggest to them?
Well, I would go up to, they can go up and talk, introduce themselves and talk about, just talk and be friendly. And if you want to do unified sports, I don't know much about unified sports, but I feel like I've seen a lot of it, and I think that's a lot of coolness, and just seeing groups of athletes and unified partners together like glue. That's really awesome. I love that.
And why do you think it's important for high schoolers with intellectual disabilities to be involved in unified sports and even in leadership positions?
I just feel like it would be a great opportunity. Take any opportunity that you can have and stick with it and just be an inspiration.
Hi, my name is Aubrey. I'm a junior at LHS, and I'm a part of the Youth Activation Committee, and here to introduce Carleigh and Alexis.
All right, Carleigh.
I'm Carleigh, and I graduated from Olathe Northwest High School, and I have like 4 jobs. So yeah, that's what I'm up to now.
My name is Alexis. I'm a sophomore at Lawrence High, and I'm part of IPS.
All right, so go ahead and give me your questions.
All right. So what is the oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this right. What is the Self-Advocacy Coalition of Kansas?
It's basically a company that you advocate for different people and do different things.
Oh, what makes you want to be a part of this group?
So someone they sent me the job description, and then I talked about it with my parents, and then I decided to apply, and then I got an interview, and then I got a second interview, and then I got hired.
And what sorts of things do you do?
We go a lot to Wichita, and we just chill for now, but I advocate for people within wheelchairs and with CP and epilepsy and stuff like that.
How was your high school experience dealing with self-advocacy?
So at the beginning of high school, since I was new to the high school, it was hard. But then by my junior year and senior year, it got easier that way.
Oh, what can students do to achieve self-advocacy?
They could go to meetings that SAT could host, and we could teach them more about self-advocacy.
Is there anything that they can do in their schools to do it?
They could put posters up and make bracelets and just announce that self-advocacy is the right thing to do.
And other advice that you would have for high school students?
I would just be independent and be who you are, because we're all different, but then we're all the same as well.
Carleigh, do you want to talk about any of the other programs that you're involved in?
So I'm involved in this program called Emerging Artists. It's for people with intellectual disabilities, and you have to be like an artist. You can't just like go and be like, I'm an artist and not be an artist. You have to be interested in art. And then I work at the movies, and then I work at the Spencer up here, up across the street from here. But yeah.
And any advice you have for students who are applying for jobs and looking for jobs?
I recommend like finding the job and then doing a cover letter and then doing it in like sections and not like all at once.
This video will review what is a self-advocate, why is self-advocacy important, and ways to become an effective self-advocate.
Hey Cameron, what does the word self-advocate mean?
A self-advocate is an individual who has the ability to convey, communicate, and negotiate their needs, interests, and desires.
What about you, Gabby?
In other words, that just means getting the help you need by asking for it.
Nice. Why is advocating for yourself important in schools?
Self-advocating is important because it allows you to get the help that you need.
In schools, advocating for your needs allows you to improve your grades.
Hey Braylee, should we see why the staff thinks self-advocacy is important?
Sure, let's go.
It's important so that you can be independent on your own and not always rely on other people to help you out of situations that you might be able to get yourself out of.
Thank you.
Self-advocacy is important because no one is a mind reader. We don't know what's going on, what you might need help with. Teachers especially try to make sure everyone understands, but there's lots of things that we miss in our explanation. Teachers say the same thing several times a day, so learning how to talk about what you need exactly is really important. You feel a certain way about something, you got to let people know how you're feeling and how they can help you. So that's always a big step in problem solving as well. Figuring out what you need, asking other people to help you with it, and then staying the course, having grit and resiliency to follow through.
Thank you.
Self-advocacy is super important because it's how you can get things you need in your life and how you can stand up for yourself and make sure that all of your needs are being met.
So the importance of self-advocacy is eventually as an adult, mom and dad, parents, guardians aren't going to be there, and being able to stand up for yourself, what you need, and ask for the help that you need is a valuable skill that you're just going to have as an adult in our society.
Advocacy is important because sometimes when you don't advocate for yourself, you leave it up to others to advocate for you, and no one is going to do that as well as you. So advocating for yourself ensures that your own voice is heard and you're able to be your own person.
There are 3 important steps to self-advocating.
1. State the problem.
2. State what you've tried to do on your own to solve the problem.
Stage 3. State what they can do to solve the problem.
The following scenarios put these 3 steps in action.
The scenario is that you need help on a worksheet that you do not understand.
Hey Miss B, I'm having a problem figuring out this word. I've tried sounding it out on my own. Could you maybe help me? Sure!
Using the last 3 steps, think about how you can self-advocate for the following scenarios.
The scenario is you would like to move seats because the person next to you is constantly distracting.
Hey Mr. Lewis, I'm having a really hard time focusing in class and I'm just honestly getting really distracted. the student that sits next to me is poking me and talking constantly. I tried asking him to stop talking to me or poking me and everything, but I was just wondering if you would maybe switch a seating chart for me.
Sure.
The scenario is you want to take your test in a quiet environment to help you concentrate.
Hey Mr. James, I've really been struggling to take this test of yours. I've tried to move seats, I've tried to zone it out, and it just doesn't seem to be working for me.
Okay.
Would it be okay if I maybe came in at a different time or stayed in a different room to do this test? I can't focus.
Yeah, that could work.
Brock, we're gonna learn to do household vocabulary words, okay? I need you to look at these words and put them to the picture, okay? You need some help, Brock? Wait, don't do it for him. We gotta teach him to advocate for himself, so he needs to be doing it. So how about you, instead of doing it for him, you read off the word and he show you the picture. Okay. Hey Brock, you know where the bed is?
For me, advocacy is standing up for others that don't have the voice to do so for themselves.
Advocacy means showing up and being a leader for those who, I want to say, don't know where to go. So advocacy is just basically helping people find their way along.
It means standing up for individuals and groups that typically aren't represented, and equality.
It means speaking up for yourself and others to be positive.
How I can stand up for myself is just standing up to my bullies and knowing that I know the truth about a situation, and also going to older adults to help with situations.
By talking to the people that I trust. Talking to the person that is not making you feel like you can't stand up to yourself and showing and asserting your dominance.
Standing up for other people and not letting people treat each other badly.
I think it's about giving people a voice when they don't feel like they can speak up, and just bringing awareness to things that seem unfair and trying to bring change about it.
I try my best to be nice for them and just have their back whenever they're going through hard times.
I think the most important thing in advocacy is having a level of empathy and understanding that everyone's experiences are different.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up.
Teachers, this is for you. You are instrumental in building trusting relationships at your school, and we have a tool to help you. If you go to our website at unified.soks.org, you can find lessons on the following topics. There are also videos and other resources for you to use in the classroom. Be sure to check it out. Teachers can also scan the QR code to request to join our teacher Facebook group to get lesson ideas, share resources, and connect with educators all over the state. Now let's talk about another way to engage in purposeful storytelling. Look for different perspectives and learn about advocates. Books. Look for books by diverse authors that feature diverse characters. Here are a few I recommend. I love these ones because they are told by people with disabilities and helps us to understand what life is like for them. Ask your librarian or teachers for more recommendations. Or teachers can contact Caitlin at Special Olympics to learn more about our book programs. And finally, we're going to get to the fun stuff. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We hope you feel better equipped to make your schools a place where everyone feels like they belong. Go to the link below and scan the QR code to answer the poll. Each entry will enter your school into a chance to win a pizza party. So the more who enter, the better your chances of winning. I have also included my email if you want book recommendations, lesson plans, ideas for your clubs, or more ways to get involved. Or if you just want to show me the amazing things your school is doing so I can brag about you on social media. Speaking of social media, don't forget to follow us at SOKS Unified on Instagram. Teachers, feel free to pause the video here to help your students with the poll. Thanks everyone, and remember, choose to include.